got 3 days we'll play on some grass and dirt. But turn down the volume on Dick and Bird. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! St. Paul admitting the law and life, and hitting rock bottom, drugs in the ex-wife. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck shit.
Hello and welcome to this thing we call Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play. I'm your host, Anthony Variano. I am joined, as usual, by the brothers Haas, Michael and Bradley. Bradley, how we doing?
Excellent. Can't
Michael?
complain today.
How's your bod?
It's like every other Sunday. It's in recovery mode. I hit it way too hard again.
How was Billings?
It was fun. I went to, you probably don't know who he is, Jason Isbell. It's like a country Americana singer at a theater in downtown Billings. It was really fun.
Cool. Well, we've got a big day, a big pod ahead of us with all the money moves that the Vikings be making. So let's get right down to it. This is per Tyler Forness of Twitter. The Minnesota Vikings front office is making a clear statement. We are moving forward in our own vision. The Spielman-Zimmer era is over. It's the Kwesi Kevin era. And that has been evident in the cuts that they've had to make due to salary cap situation. Starting first with cutting Eric Kendricks, resulting in $9.5 million in cap space, with just over $1.93 million in dead cap charge this year. He played 94% of defensive snaps last year, but allowed a 74.1 completion percentage in each of his last 2 seasons. He had a career high in targets, 85 last year, also in career high in yards, 583 allowed. So that's a pretty big hole in our defense. He's only led the team in tackles pretty much every year that he's played. Brad, how do we fill that hole?
He started to regress. That's what sucks. I like Kendricks, but he started to regress this year. I do actually, word around the Vikings organization is what you put in the notes, that Asamoah, however you say that, Asamoah, they're actually pretty high on this kid. So I mean,
it's an in-house adjustment. They're just going to let him take over the defense.
You roll with him. There is a guy from Cincinnati who's a free agent right now. Not like a top tier name, and that's what you listed, like top tier names.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can, number one, afford that. First of all, I mean, there's no way we can afford that with our cap thing, unless, I don't know. This guy's name is Jermaine Pratt. He's pretty decent. 99 tackles, 6 tackles for a loss last year. So, I mean, these are guys I had read about that will actually fit the role with Flores. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I read that, we saw a little bit of Brian Asamoah last year, and everything I've read about him is supposedly he will fit great in the new defensive coordinator's scheme, and they kind of compare him to Louis Sain, who we signed last year as well, where they're both fucking quick as hell. They're hard hitters. They can cover the whole fucking field. So I think they're just going to roll with Asamoah. That's my I mean, they got to save some money. And
I mean,
if he's got sideline to sideline speed, that's what they've been missing. Like Kendricks was faster in his, earlier years with the team, but he's obviously lost a step. And it's just too hard for linebackers to cover these damned wide receivers anymore, especially the slot receivers and tight ends, who are some of the best wide receivers in the league now.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to do like a Patriots year this year, where we're not getting big names. We're just finding guys that will fit into the system
Well, luckily we might have already found that in the replacement for Adam Thielen, who the Vikings have announced they've released. He was with the organization for 10 years. It's leaving a dead cap hit of over $13 million unless they do a post June 1 release to save that $13 million. And Brad, can you kind of explain why you don't think they will do that?
Why they won't do it post?
Yeah, post June 1st.
I actually have no idea. I figured they would have.
Oh, I thought it was if they do it right away, or if they announce it as a post June 1, then
No.
the cap hit is spread over 2 seasons rather than one.
Nope, they did it so we take it all this year.
Oh, okay.
They're really working so 2024 our books are going to kind of be opened up, allow for extensions to players we need to build around.
Namely Justin
Jefferson.
Yeah. I mean the one player we need to build around.
No, so I think yeah, it's going to be a tough year this year, but sad reality is I mean, under the old Spielman Zimmer era, we were going to get to a year like this when you keep playing,
right.
Well, this is going to be our year, we're going to win it. And we keep pushing contracts down the road. Sooner or later, you're going to have to bite the bullet. And this is the year we got to do it.
I wish Thielen nothing but the best, though. There's been rumors he's linked to like Kansas City and whatnot. I don't think he's going to get any money, but oh man, like.
Oh, he'll go to New England and become a star all over again.
I think he wants to go somewhere and win. Maybe Buffalo, Kansas
He only
City.
had 70 catches for 716 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. And KJ Osborne had 60 for 650 and 5. So I think KJ steps into that. That's the one position I'm not worried about is wide receiver.
Well, no, and there's a ton of guys, wide receivers. Allen Lazard's going to be out there. I mean, just you name it. There's guys that we can fill in. I mean, it'd be awesome to have a big named guy, which Thielen was a big name guy. But I mean, would you guys even consider him a top 20 wide receiver?
No.
Top 25. You know what I mean?
No, he's not the top. Like, he wouldn't be the top wide receiver on any of the 32 teams, I don't think.
No.
We won't have any goddamn. It doesn't sound like we're returning any cornerbacks, though, which is problematic. We just waived Cameron Dantzler, which saves $2.7 million. But
guess where he's going?
Where?
Rumor has it he's going to San Francisco. I bet you he turns into a stud.
Well, that's a great defense already. I mean,
and then to add a guy that's just doesn't cost you anything, who has all the talent in the world, if you can just put his shit together. I mean, fuck.
Well, I mean, who the hell is going to play corner for us? Patrick Peterson's a free agent. We already lost Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins, so that trade ain't happening.
Patrick Peterson will re-sign with us, I think.
I hope so. But that still gives us just one.
Did you guys see the thing that they did over the combine where they did a God, what do you call it? When you're not quizzing somebody, but you're doing you ask a random one, a poll. They polled NFL players.
Okay.
And the Vikings have the best facility. They treat the players the best. Like, maybe that's Patrick Peterson.
And Washington's got the worst, which is, I mean, we really need a poll to figure this out?
Well, no, on the Peterson front, I kind of wanted to throw this out to you because I had read something. I mean, he's getting older, and we still got questions whether or not Harrison Smith is going to be on this team this time next week. I've read they might maybe move him into a safety role, which I think he'd be fucking great at. Yeah,
I think so too. No, he's a ball hawk, so yeah, I think he fits that role pretty well.
I mean, he wouldn't be the hitter, but
yeah, well, I mean, you could transfer the reins. He could captain the defense with Kendricks gone. So
I mean, didn't they do that with him? Didn't they do that with like Arenas Williams and like a lot of those cornerbacks that, they got to their mid-30s, but they still had a knack for the ball?
Yeah.
They just couldn't play one-on-one.
Well, it makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, you're there to help instead of like provide man coverage, a lot of the time. And, he likes to be around the line of scrimmage too. So you can bring him on blitzes. He's a good tackler. And he's a good leader. And tends to be, corners don't tend to run the defenses on teams. So yeah, I could see him taking over the green dot for Eric Kendricks next year we end up signing him. But it's going to be at more than what we paid him last year. He was a bargain last year. So
I don't know if it will. I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Well, who knows about Zadarius Smith? He wants out now. He's requested his release, and that is
we can't. That's the thing. Like with him, we can't just freaking release him.
No,
like honestly,
we got him for 2 more years.
We need to get something. I don't care if it's a 7th round freaking pick. You got it. We don't have any draft picks as it is right now, so we need to get something.
Well, the thing that irritates me with that one is, unless we want to go into a full rebuild, which it doesn't look like we want to, like I want to see him play under Brian Flores.
Right, me too.
Guidance, where it's like we're going to be blitzing a lot more, and I'm sorry, we don't have the depth to replace him on our team. And with him and Hunter, they would make Brian Flores, like we need him for Brian Flores' defense. And I understand why he wants to be released. I mean, he wants one last big payday, but it's like,
I don't think he's going to get it though.
No, I don't think so either. He did sell his house already, but that doesn't mean he couldn't buy another bigger, nicer house in the Minneapolis area. Actually,
he could move in with you, Tony.
Yeah, right. My 722, he would dwarf my 722 square feet. My God, he'd probably fucking make the floor collapse. He's so big. Well, there is something that we could do to both, not lower the cap a ton, but this Dalvin Cook trade looks like it's going to happen. We don't know what it's for. Does anybody have any information on what potentially we can expect back?
Just give me a second. Go ahead, Mike, and talk. I got
the only. I mean, there's more than one team have proposed offers now, but it's all just rumor mill shit. Like nothing. They're not saying the teams. I mean, everybody's guessing. I mean, I've read that the Dolphins would love him. But I mean,
Bills.
Everybody guessing at what we'd get would be like in the 5th round pick is what they're guessing. If we're lucky, like a 4th round pick.
Jesus, that's not great.
Well, it's tough because
it's a top 5 contract for running backs at the position. It's really expensive, and people don't like paying running backs a lot of money.
Well, what team is going to want to trade for somebody when they know the team's likely going to have to cut him anyway? Like,
yeah.
Broncos, the Broncos.
Why the Broncos?
They're already all in.
Yeah,
I mean, they wasted
the money.
everything. They have money. They could throw maybe a 3rd or maybe a couple day 3 picks, and then also they could drop some cap room by swapping Cortland Sutton with us, which helps us get a wide receiver. Kind of interesting on that one.
Oh, I would take Sutton in a heartbeat.
I mean,
that's a bit overwhelming, boys. I mean, we've already got a plethora of options to catch the ball.
I wouldn't say a plethora.
We've got one of the best receiving tight ends in the NFC. We've got the best wide receiver in the world, and KJ Osborne's really good for a number 2.
If I could rewind us back to why I love the twin strategy so much this year, trying to become injury proof. What happens if fucking Jefferson or Hawkinson goes down with an injury and misses time? Then what do we do? Who do we throw the ball to?
Well, then you trade Kirk Cousins and call it game, set, match, and rebuild. I suppose.
That's not on your list today. I would like to discuss your guys' thoughts on what we do with Cousins too.
We'll get to that. The bottom line is if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you're talking right now with Alexander Mattison.
Yeah.
You're getting contract shit worked out. And once you can trade Cook, at this point, nothing against Dalvin Cook. We have an equal, if not better, because he's younger, running back. You get rid of him, you get what you can get, free up some money. I don't think we're going to be giving Madison that type of money.
No,
because he hasn't proven himself. So, I mean, God, you got to get rid of him. And to tell you the truth, even if Madison doesn't want to sign with us, we got that Chandler. I mean, running backs to me are a dime a dozen nowadays. Like,
I think
the league seems to think that too.
Yeah, I think Madison would want to re-sign. He wants to be the bell cow.
Well, yeah,
he
expects to be paid like a starting running back in the league. That's not a Dalvin Cook type running back in the league, although I think he actually had a better yard per carry average than Dalvin did last year. And I think he's a better receiver out of the backfield than Dalvin is. But yeah, he just wants to be paid as if he's the starting running back on a football team. And I think he's going to get that money elsewhere. So we might as well give it to him, because if we can move Dalvin Cook and use whatever we save in moving him to sign his replacement, that works for me.
Yeah, but when you say starting running back, he's not. I'm guessing this contract, the second contract, would probably be like a 3-year deal where he's making anywhere from $3 to $5 million a year.
Yeah, that's
so it's
reasonable.
not. We're not talking Zeke money or Cook money, thing like that. But
just like the bottom tier of starting running backs in the league, the 20 through 30.
No, it would be interesting to see how he could handle that workload. I think he totally could.
Oh, yeah.
I disagree a little bit with Brad. I don't think he's as good as Cook. I just don't think our offense, we don't need Dalvin Cook, is the reality.
Yeah.
Our offense doesn't run through the running back anymore.
No. So Brad poses a question. This team is losing a lot of big names, but our defense was garbage last year. And does losing Thielen and hopefully Cook hurt our offense at all? I don't think it's the case for either of them, frankly. Like, sure, we might be a marginally worse. Maybe we lose, instead of winning 10 one-score games, we only win 7 next year. But yeah, I think this offense can overcome losses like that. It's just a shame.
They've done models already.
Oh, yeah?
Like the computer ones based off of who you've got, and they run them 10,000
times. Like Fangraphs projections?
Yep. Yeah, they got us at 8 wins next year.
Damn,
I think
that's not good.
8.4 or something like that, which it still puts us in line to win the division. I mean,
that's crazy.
Well, no. Yeah, well, at the beginning of last year, we're projected to win, what, 9 wins or something like that?
So, yeah, sounds about right.
So, before we move on any farther, when you were talking about the cornerback situation too, there's a couple other free agents that I think the Vikings can go after for relatively cheap too.
All right.
Jonathan Jones from the New England Patriots.
That's the one I like.
29 years old, not going to cost us a ton of money. He'll fit good into the system. And the other one's James Bradbury from Philadelphia. I think that both of those guys we could possibly get for little to nothing.
Well, you have to figure with releasing Dantzler, they have to have their eye on somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And I can understand, I don't know. I can understand Dantzler's young and cheap, and he had flashes of fucking greatness, but it's.
Well, you've got those rookies returning too, who are both part of the secondary.
Andrew Booth, it'll be nice to see him healthy.
Yeah, and seen.
And don't tell me, like, this whole tampering bullshit, I'll guarantee you this shit is going on all the time. I bet you the Vikings have talked to 8 different guys that they've got their mind on that, yeah, I'd like to play for you. I mean.
Well, and I assume we're going to bring back Duke Shelley. I mean, he surprised the hell out of me.
He was actually got better every game, it seemed like he played last year, as far as I was concerned.
Towards the end of the year, he was playing actually pretty good. I was surprised.
And now, if that's the thing is, like, are we elevating him in the depth chart? That I don't feel great about.
You have to. If you look at our sheet right now, we've got.
Well, now we're talking about Patrick Peterson playing safety, so we still don't have any cornerbacks. Like, Patrick Peterson playing safety don't help us at all. But I mean, it just means Harrison Smith is expendable.
If you think about it, though, if we do trade Zadarius Smith, if we do trade Dalvin Cook, heaven forbid, and hopefully we have enough time to talk about the Cousins situation, we extend him again.
Let's talk about it right now. You brought it up.
Free up some money. I mean,
yeah,
we've got the players in line to do it right now.
The man doesn't miss games. Like, that's the greatest ability is availability, and he is that in spades. Like, the man just does not miss games. And even though he's getting on up in age, he's still a gamer, man. Like, he's still got that arm.
He was a top 10 quarterback last year. Literally.
He is every year. Every year he's the top third of the league quarterback.
And I think he's paid at the number 13 quarterback. So, I mean, if you think about it, technically we're kind of getting a bargain.
Who in Minnesota sports is calling the Kirk Cousins contract a bargain? I don't know.
Not
but
a bargain at all.
For a top 10 quarterback?
We are Kirk Cousins apologists.
But his contract is fully fucking guaranteed every year. Like, if you
it doesn't matter because he plays every game. Why would you rather guarantee it?
Would you rather have Russell Wilson and pay him $40 million a year?
Absolutely not.
I would maybe rather have Geno Smith.
Well, that's done and done. Seattle's re-signed Geno.
To me, that's his market is Geno Smith. That's what Geno had better numbers than Cousins last year if you actually look at it in paper. So
prove it.
Do we extend him at Geno Smith's contract then?
I would love that.
Plenty of money, yeah.
Give him a 3-year deal like Geno got, and I would be fine.
Do you know what we trade him for a 7th round pick to the Carolina Panthers because they're drafting a quarterback.
The first pick in the draft, didn't they not just?
Oh yeah, the Bears.
Pick? Yeah,
the Bears are going to run away with this division like in 2 to 3 years.
Maybe next year. I mean, we're not going to be any good. The Packers are going to lose Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. But Detroit is going to win it probably next year.
You trade Cousins to the Panthers. That gives them a year, whichever quarterback they take at number 1, to let him get through his woes, and they've got Kirk Cousins. Granted, Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause, so
right. He's probably not going to want to go to Carolina.
This is fantasy bullshit going on right here. We trade his ass, and I don't care if we just if they give us $1, whatever. We put everything at Lamar Jackson, make him the highest paid quarterback.
And then you don't need a running back either. You can still trade Dalvin Cook.
Yes,
hell, you don't even need Madison.
You could push all of his contract back to the later of his 5 years, and we just do the whole damn thing again in 5 years.
Do it again,
and we can win right now.
My dream scenario for Cousins would be to trade him to the fucking Niners, like a straight trade for Trey Lance.
Really?
And then we've got our QB of the future to try to build around.
I don't know if I like Trey.
Cost us nothing.
There's nothing about that guy that I've seen that makes me feel confident that he can play quarterback at that NFL level at all. So,
and he played for NDSU.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great offense. Like, that's offensive line play and playing against people you got no business playing against, frankly. Like,
no, but how are we ever going to get the quarterback of the future, though? We got no draft picks. It would significantly hurt this team if we had to trade up to try to get a quarterback, like in the first round.
You're still gambling on it. That's what I'm saying, man. If you can somehow dump Kirk Cousins,
Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft, like San Francisco,
that's just pure luck.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Brock Purdy would be fucking garbage for the purple and gold
because he'd be running for his life. Or even more quickly than he was in San
Francisco. The 49ers offense doesn't need a quarterback. You can put anybody in there to be the quarterback.
Neither does Baltimore. That's what I think we all want, is the guy that, just you can plug in and not have to worry about things. Although you lose Lamar Jackson and you've got no shot, right? Baltimore's season was absolutely destroyed every time that guy gets hurt. So,
I mean, is Baltimore stupid enough just to trade Kirk Cousins for Lamar Jackson?
I don't
know.
No.
I mean, if they're not willing to pay him money right now, I mean, they're like,
no, I think they'll realize what they've got as soon as all the offers come in, and they'll match it. That's just how it's going to
There's actually rumors that no team is actually going to put in an offer for him.
I find that hard to believe.
I do too.
All right. Well, there was some sad news in the Vikings franchise this week as Bud Grant passed away at 95. He was I known him only as a host on the Levitard Show podcast during his annual garage sale every year, which was always hilarious. Brad has here that he is the greatest head coach in the history of the Vikings franchise, which is true. From 67 to 83, he went to 4 Super Bowls, combining a record of 158, 96, and 5. But I found this even more interesting. This is from Tyler Fornes again on Twitter. He is the only person in history to be drafted and play in both the NBA and NFL, and won both an NBA and NFL championship, along with 4 Grey Cups with the Blue Bombers.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right? So, yeah, Bud Grant, pretty awesome dude, pretty good athlete, pretty great coach, pretty great man.
Dude, when you've got cable television and you get the local Minnesota and North Dakota channels, he would have his television show where you'd be out at his little place. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
The guy is
I've heard of it, though.
He would be fun. He would have been so fun to hang out with. You know, he right on a lake and shit like, and then they'd make some food. Like, he seemed like just a great dude. Like,
do you guys,
players of this generation seem to love him too. So, yeah.
do you guys remember that when the dome fucking collapsed?
Sure.
We had to play at fucking what's
US
the
Bank
Gopher Stadium?
It was
TCF Stadium.
TCF Bank. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, TCF Stadium, and they had that fucking playoff game against.
That's not because of the dome collapsing, though. By the way, that's when we were building US Bank Stadium.
Well, we wouldn't have built that.
We don't build US Bank Stadium unless the dome collapses. So.
Fucking semantics over there.
We had to build US Bank
that.
Stadium. We had to. That's the only way we were going to get Kirk Cousins.
Well, let me finish my fucking story. You guys remember that fucking playoff game? I think it was against the Seahawks. I think
the building that Kirk Cousins built.
2015, where it's fucking below zero. And fucking, I think Bridgewater would have been our quarterback at that time.
Sure.
But it's the coin flip. Fucking Bud Grant comes out. It's below zero.
I saw that on Twitter today.
Like, yeah, he was 80s at the time.
It's probably closer to 90. Yeah. Well, 2015, that would have been 10 years ago. 85. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What a stud. Yeah.
Just
and you can see the
there.
players just like, this guy's fucking crazy. Yeah. Pretty good shit right there. So Bud Grant, you will be missed. I'm sure he'll be celebrated throughout the Viking season, and hopefully we'll be there for one of those games.
I bet you he would have came closer to making that field goal than fucking Blair Walsh did.
I couldn't imagine how pissed he was watching his television on that one. All right, well,
he should get a statue, shouldn't he, outside of US Bank Stadium or something?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of space for one. Yeah, might as well.
I mean, honestly, like, when you think of icons in Minnesota Viking sports, like, he's number one. He has to be number one.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. So Bud Grant, definitely deserving of a statue. Looking forward to that. And he'll definitely be in short sleeves. It should be of him at 85 going through the coin flip in 0-degree weather and fucking short sleeves. Okay, well, it's not all. Yeah, it's been pretty bad news so far on this podcast. A lot of names being lost for the Vikings. The Wild just lost the big name, Kirill Kaprizov, with a lower body injury, out 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to span anywhere from 9 to 11 games. Luckily, the Wild have been freaking awesome lately. They've got a point in each of their last 12 games. They've had a dozen games where they've gotten at least a point streak going. And they haven't lost in their last 8, right?
It's their last 9.
Yeah. So they've
10?
got
actually 10, because I just saw the statistic last night on last night's game that over this 10-game span, they were the second or third team to not lose a game or to gain X amount of points with only scoring 20 goals or something like that.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing is they score about as much as the Whitecaps do, which we'll get to in a second. So they've got 16 games remaining in the season. That includes tonight's game. And they've got a 6-point lead on Winnipeg for the final playoff spot in the West. Best case scenario, we can expect the throwback by March 29th at Colorado. That would give him 8 games to get ready for the playoffs. We are still a playoff team, I think, even with him out of the lineup. As indicated by this team's performance yesterday, albeit against, a San Jose Sharks team that's got nothing to play for. But Bill Guerin's guys coming up big. I mean, Marcus Johansson, a goal and an assist on Saturday, and John Klingberg with 2 helpers on Saturday. These new acquisitions are coming up huge.
Klingberg in the defensive end is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like he is, and that's the thing. They got to beat the teams. Like tonight, they better beat Arizona. Like you got to win. You have to win these games.
It's a back-to-back, but still, you've got to have it. And they've looked really sluggish in back-to-backs. So I don't expect them to come out firing, but usually that makes for them being really good at the start of the second period. They are masters at scoring that first goal in the second period too. Like in the first 2 minutes, they're just insane.
Arizona gave the fucking Avalanche though fucking troubles the other day. Their goalie played out of his ass, but
everybody's can have a 10-minute warning, can have one of those nights where they're just great. I can't imagine that playing in Mullet Arena is very much of a home ice advantage though, with only a few thousand people in it. That will be the host of the Isabel Cup final, by the way, for the Premier Hockey Federation. But from what I've seen from this team, they have the formula to win without Kirill Kaprizov. They play defense. They don't allow goals. The offense last night was pretty unprecedented, given, like we said, they've been running 26th in goals scored per game.
Put up 5.
Yeah, but they're like top 10 in the NHL in actual points amassed. So they can do it. They've only got 16 games to do it. They only really need to say we lose them for all 11 games. I still think, even if you only pull out 6 or 7 points over that span, that's just your distance that you've got over Winnipeg for that final spot. And I think that's all you need to do. If they can play 500, if they can get a point every day, that would be fantastic. But they've got a pretty stiff schedule coming up after this Arizona game. So like you say, yeah, this one's big because it starts getting tougher. They've got Boston at home. That one I can't imagine going well for us because Boston is fantastic. We're going to need somebody to score goals in that game because it doesn't matter how good Philip Gustafsson is in net. They're going to get a couple in. So
the thing is, though, with losing him towards the end of the season, if we can get him back for the playoffs, he doesn't make our team. I think this team is an actual team. It's a unit that plays very well together.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for him to score just a tish more. But on the same point, I mean, he's not like a Connor McDavid scoring 8,000 goals, 178 points, whatever it is. Yeah, he is our best player, but it hurts, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I really don't.
I don't see it being our undoing. It's just that against the top teams in the league,
it'd be nice to have your best player.
Yeah, those are the games, especially that we've won in overtime and in shootouts. Now he hasn't been fantastic in the shootouts, but he has been really good in overtime. So I can't see us winning the majority of our overtime. But I mean, an overtime loss is all we really want at this point, right? Just an overtime loss on the road or an overtime loss to Boston at home. You take that every time, even with Kirill on the ice, I think. So yeah, they're gonna get some production out of the trades that Bill Guerin made. We've already seen it with Kirill and without now. So those trades are looking even better than they did before the thrill went down.
Oh, exactly.
So yeah, the depth is going to come in really handy. You're going to see Sammy Walker back up, Sam Steele. All those guys are going to be filling big roles. And these are guys that we talked about at the beginning of the season we're really impressed with and super young. So they're the future of the Wild, and they'll get a chance to prove it over the next 9 to 11 games. So we look forward to that. Moving on to a little more hockey, women's hockey in the Premier Hockey Federation. The Whitecaps managed to make the playoffs despite not winning a game since I went to go see them play. That was 8 games ago, guys. 8 games ago, I went to the first Whitecaps game I've seen at Richfield Ice Arena, and they haven't won since. And they have not scored a lot of goals over that time either. They've scored just 9 goals in the last 8 games. Good news, they did get their primary goaltender back, Amanda Levier, who looked great in losses to Connecticut. She had like 36 saves before I left on yesterday. We went to the game yesterday too. And yeah, we had I think we had 16 shots on goal when we left with 3 minutes left in the game. It was a good old fashioned butt whooping is what they got from Connecticut, the 3rd seed in the Premier Hockey Federation. So we ended up the 4 seed. That point we got in overtime against Boston didn't matter at all. We finished, I think, 6 or 7 points behind Connecticut. So they'll play Boston in Boston on ESPN Plus Thursday, March 6th at 6 p.m. With a follow-up on Saturday, March 18th at 5 p.m.
16th.
16th, yes.
Unless they're going back to the future to get some of those points back, possibly.
Yeah, that was a typo. March 16th, the day before St. Patty's Day at 6 p.m. And then the day after St. Patty's Day, Saturday, March 18th at 5 p.m.
And we do want to send out our sincerest apologies for this. You know, we start talking about these guys and they just they hit the wall. You know, other things we talk about and like, oh, we fire our defensive coordinator, we do this stuff. It's like, these guys are listening to us. Hey, gals, maybe stop listening to us now.
Well, I like that we're talking about them. Somebody's got to talk about them. They did not look like a playoff team in their last 8 games. And so I really hope they find whatever it is. They just need to find a way to score on the power play. They gave up a shorty on Saturday. They hardly had any shots on goal on the power play. So, yeah, I mean, they're putting their goaltender in a real tough spot. But they've been hanging. You know, they're in games, so it doesn't mean they can't steal one in Boston. That would be a win. If you could just take one and force a game 3, that would be Sunday on March 19th at 5 p.m. Again, all games on ESPN Plus.
Hey, you got to make it in to win it all, man. I mean,
well, yeah, they did their work early in the season. They certainly didn't do much towards the end of the season, but that was my fault. So I'm wondering if I should watch the game. Like I watched the game today. I must be an official fan now because I watched the game without any stakes whatsoever. I did watch them today until they got behind multiple goals. They did manage to at least not get shut out today, so maybe they've got some momentum from scoring late in that game. All right, 3-minute warning. Michael, how are the Spring Twinkies doing?
Yeah,
we beat the World Baseball Classic favorites from the Dominican Republic 2-1. That's a pretty big win.
Yeah.
But the pitching has not been great the last couple days. Let's see, we kind of realized that Aaron Sanchez wasn't going to be the guy for us. I think he gave up like 7 earned runs today. Not a great outing for that guy, but he's going to spend the rest of his days in St. Paul, I think. And Brooks Lee's only hitting 222 all of a sudden.
I thought he was 240. He's got the most at bats for the team.
That's good to see. At least he's getting out there.
No, well, it's kind of tied to the Twins. I call it the twin game. Venezuela's taking on Puerto Rico right as we're doing this broadcast.
What channel is that on?
Yeah, what channel?
FS1 it should be on.
All right.
It's Venezuela's working them, but at the beginning of the game, I call it the Twins game because it's Pablo Lopez going against Jose Barrios, and Barrios just got fucking crunched.
Oh yeah.
But then, I mean, you get to see Giovanni Moran, and then if you actually look at the lineups, I mean, you got Eddie Rosario, Luis Arraez.
Jesus,
it's just Twin fest.
The who's who of Twins franchise history.
Yeah, playing for both
and
teams.
Future.
Yeah, and one other World Baseball Classic tidbit, which I don't think this has happened. In Pool A, I mean, Cuba came out performing the first 2 games. but all 5 teams, it was a fucking everybody tied. It was 2-2 out of every fucking. That was our record for Pool A. So Cuba and Italy will advance. Japan,
Italia,
holy
boys.
fuck,
Boy Shohei.
yeah. What
about Japan?
Tony's boy Shohei putting on a show over there.
Is he?
Where the? Oh yeah, god damn it! Where are the fucking standings? Their runs scored versus runs they gave up. So this isn't going to be accurate because I lost the page and we're almost out of time. I think they put up in their 4 games like 35 or 36 runs. They only gave up 8 runs.
Oh my god!
Like they're just running through the competition right now. Japan is.
Well, they've got great pitching over there. Okay, well, that's our show. I'd like to thank the Brothers Haas for joining me. I'm your host, Anthony Variano. You can catch us at Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play on YouTube, at Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play on TikTok, and at GoGonzoJournal.substack.com. And wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, we're there too. Brad's trying to get a skull clap going. Let's do it, baby! This is for you, bud, Brad.
If there's those America lovers out there, I think Team USA plays the last game tonight. I think they take on Mexico.
8 p.m.
All right, thank you for watching. Go Whitecaps. Roll Caps. I'm sorry I cursed.